Nestled within the bustling heart of Rome lies Vatican City, the world's smallest sovereign state. Despite its diminutive size, Vatican City holds immense global significance as the spiritual center for millions of Catholics. This tiny nation-state, a mere 110 acres, is home to the Pope, the head of the Catholic Church. The very existence of Vatican City is a testament to a long and complex history, a story woven from the threads of religion, politics, and power. The Vatican's journey to statehood is a fascinating tale that stretches back over centuries. It's a story of the rise and fall of empires, of fierce battles and delicate negotiations, all culminating in the unique entity we know today. This essay delves into the historical tapestry of the Vatican, exploring the key events that led to its creation and its enduring presence on the world stage. Our journey begins long before the modern Vatican, in the early centuries of Christianity, as we trace the origins of the Papal States. From these humble beginnings, we will witness the growth of papal power and the eventual establishment of a temporal kingdom ruled by the Pope. This historical context is crucial for understanding the events that would ultimately lead to the creation of Vatican City. The seeds of the Papal States were sown in the early Middle Ages, a period of political fragmentation in Europe. As the Roman Empire crumbled, the Church, with the Pope at its helm, emerged as a stabilizing force. Popes began to exercise increasing influence, not just in spiritual matters, but also in secular affairs. One pivotal moment came in 756 AD, when Pepin the Short, king of the Franks, gifted a swathe of land in central Italy to Pope Stephen II. This donation, known as the Donation of Pepin, marked the birth of the Papal States. Over the following centuries, the Papal States grew in size and influence, encompassing a significant portion of the Italian peninsula. The popes, as rulers of the Papal States, wielded considerable political and military might. They commanded armies, forged alliances, and engaged in the complex game of European power politics. The Papal States became a major player on the Italian peninsula, shaping the destiny of the region for centuries. This period saw the construction of magnificent cathedrals, the patronage of arts and learning, and the consolidation of papal authority. However, the stability of the Papal States was not to last. As the centuries passed, new ideologies emerged that challenged the very foundation of papal power. The rise of nationalism, coupled with growing resentment towards the Church's temporal authority, set the stage for the decline of the Papal States and the dramatic events that would lead to the creation of Vatican City. By the 18th century, the seeds of change were firmly planted across Europe. The Enlightenment, with its emphasis on reason and individual liberty, challenged the traditional authority of the Church. Nationalist sentiments surged, particularly in Italy, where the dream of a unified nation clashed with the reality of a fragmented peninsula, with the Papal States occupying a significant portion. The French Revolution in 1789 sent shockwaves across Europe, further weakening the foundations of the Papal States. Napoleon Bonaparte's conquest of Italy in the late 18th century dealt a severe blow to papal power. The Papal States were annexed into the French Empire, and Pope Pius VI was taken prisoner, dying in exile in 1799. Although the Papal States were restored after Napoleon's defeat, the experience left an indelible mark. The concept of a unified Italy, free from foreign and papal rule, gained momentum. The Risorgimento, as this movement for Italian unification came to be known, would ultimately spell the end of the Papal States. The popes, clinging to their temporal power, found themselves increasingly at odds with the rising tide of Italian nationalism. The stage was set for a showdown between the forces of unification and the papacy, a confrontation that would redefine the relationship between church and state in Italy and give birth to the Vatican City we know today. The year 1848 witnessed a wave of revolutions across Europe, and Italy was no exception. Nationalist uprisings erupted throughout the peninsula, challenging the rule of Austria and demanding unification. The Pope, facing pressure from both revolutionaries and conservative forces, found himself in an increasingly untenable position. The movement for Italian unification gained momentum under the leadership of figures like Giuseppe Garibaldi and Count Camillo Benso di Cavour. In 1861, the Kingdom of Italy was proclaimed, with Victor Emmanuel II of the House of Savoy as its king. The Papal States, however, remained outside this newly united Italy. Pope Pius VII, refusing to cede temporal power, declared himself a prisoner in the Vatican and excommunicated those involved in the seizure of the Papal States. The situation resulted in a tense standoff, known as the Roman Question, which would persist for nearly 6 decades. The fall of the Papal States marked a turning point in the history of the papacy. Stripped of their temporal power, the popes were forced to re-evaluate their role in a rapidly changing world. The question of their status within the newly unified Italy became a pressing issue, one that would require a delicate and unprecedented solution. Section 5. The Roman Question, a city and a pope divided. The Roman Question cast a long shadow over relations between the newly formed Italian state and the Catholic Church. The Italian government, eager to establish Rome as its capital, sought a resolution that would both affirm its sovereignty and address the Pope's situation. For their part, the popes maintained their claim over the former Papal States, refusing to recognize the legitimacy of the Italian state. Pope Pius IX and his successors considered themselves prisoners within the Vatican walls, refusing to leave for fear of compromising their claim to temporal power. This impasse created a complex diplomatic dilemma. The Italian government was reluctant to use force against the Pope, fearing a backlash from the Catholic world. The papacy, meanwhile, was isolated and increasingly irrelevant in the political landscape of a unified Italy. The Roman Question became a source of international tension, with Catholic powers like France and Austria expressing concern over the Pope's situation. It was clear that a negotiated settlement was needed, one that could reconcile the seemingly irreconcilable positions of the Italian state and the Holy See. Section 6. The Lateran Treaty, a new era for church and state. After decades of stalemate, the Roman Question finally reached a resolution in 1929 with the signing of the Lateran Treaty. This landmark agreement, negotiated between the Italian government under Benito Mussolini and Pope Pius VII, ushered in a new era in church-state relations in Italy. The Lateran Treaty consisted of 3 main components: a treaty recognizing the Vatican City-State as a sovereign entity, a financial convention providing the Vatican with compensation for the loss of the Papal States, and a concordat regulating the relationship between the Catholic Church and the Italian state. The creation of Vatican City, though minuscule in size, held immense symbolic importance. It provided the papacy with a physical and legal embodiment of its independence, allowing the Pope to claim sovereignty as a head of state. The financial settlement provided the Vatican with much-needed resources, while the Concordat granted the Church a privileged position within Italian society. The Lateran Treaty was a landmark achievement, bringing an end to decades of tension and uncertainty. It allowed the papacy to emerge from its self-imposed isolation and re-engage with the world stage, not as a temporal power, but as a spiritual leader with a recognized place in the family of nations. Section 7. Vatican City, the State of the Holy See. With the signing of the Lateran Treaty, Vatican City officially came into existence as a sovereign entity on June 7, 1929. This tiny city-state, encompassing St. Peter's Basilica, the Vatican museums and surrounding buildings, became a unique anomaly on the world stage, a country within a city, ruled by the Pope as its absolute monarch. Vatican City is not merely a geographical entity, it is the physical embodiment of the Holy See, the governing body of the Catholic Church. The Pope, in his role as head of state, exercises supreme legislative, executive, and judicial power within Vatican City. He appoints all government officials, from cardinals who act as his advisors to the lay people who manage the day-to-day affairs of the city-state. Vatican City, though small, possesses all the attributes of a sovereign state. It issues its own stamps, coins, and passports. It maintains diplomatic relations with over 180 countries and participates in international organizations. The Vatican even has its own flag, featuring 2 vertical bands of yellow and white, with the crossed keys of St. Peter and the papal tiara emblazoned on the white band. The creation of Vatican City was more than just a territorial settlement. It was a recognition of the Catholic Church's enduring influence and its unique position in the world. It allowed the papacy to engage with the modern world on its own terms as a sovereign entity free from the constraints of any single nation-state. Section 8. Finances of a Faith. How the Vatican supports itself. The Vatican city-state, unlike most other countries, does not rely on taxes or industry to fund its operations. Instead, it relies on a unique combination of income sources reflecting its status as both a religious institution and a sovereign state. One significant source of income is donations from Catholics worldwide, known as Peter's Pence. These contributions, collected annually in parishes around the globe, go towards supporting the Pope's charitable works and the running of the Vatican's various departments. The Vatican also generates revenue through its investments, which include real estate holdings, financial assets, and a diverse portfolio of stocks and bonds. The Vatican Bank, officially known as the Institute for the Works of Religion, manages these investments and provides financial services to religious orders, dioceses, and Vatican employees. Tourism is another crucial source of income for the Vatican. Millions of visitors flock to Vatican City each year, drawn by its historical significance, stunning art and architecture, and the opportunity to see the Pope. Revenue from museum entrance fees, souvenir sales, and donations from pilgrims contribute significantly to the Vatican's coffers. The Vatican's finances are often shrouded in secrecy, but one thing is clear: the Church's enduring appeal and its unique position as both a spiritual and temporal power ensure that it has the resources to continue its mission in the 21st century. Section 9. Conclusion: the enduring legacy of the Vatican city-state. The story of Vatican City is a testament to the enduring power of faith, the complexities of history, and the delicate balance between religion and politics. From its humble beginnings as a small territory gifted to the papacy, the Vatican has evolved over centuries, navigating tumultuous periods of expansion, decline, and ultimately rebirth. The loss of the papal states in the 19th century forced the papacy to confront its changing role in a world increasingly shaped by secular ideologies. The Roman question, a decades-long impasse, highlighted the need for a new paradigm in church-state relations. The Lateran Treaty, with its creation of Vatican City, provided that solution, allowing the papacy to retain its spiritual independence while coexisting within a unified Italy. Today, Vatican City stands as a unique entity on the world stage. It is a beacon of faith for millions of Catholics around the globe, a repository of art and history, and a symbol of the enduring legacy of the Catholic Church. Its small size belies its outsized influence, a testament to the power of ideas and the enduring human search for meaning and connection. The story of Vatican City is a reminder that even in a world often driven by pragmatism and power, faith continues to shape our values, inspire our actions, and bind us together in a shared human experience.